Hey everybody, my name is Mary Copeland. I am your instructor for the spring semester. Just want to introduce myself and then go over the class and show you some important things and kind of how the class works. And then of course, if you have any questions, you can let me know. So I'm going to get right into it and share my screen with you. The first thing I'm going to share is let me share the books. So the books are digital and it's called the Bedford Bookshelf. You can order it through the bookstore. It lists the Bedford Bookshelf. It's really reasonable. I think it's like $29 for the all the books. So, well, for that section. So, and then each week I will give readings, very short readings from mostly these two books, really the only two we use. When you see the bookshelf has a bunch of books in it, but I don't use them all. I only use a couple of them. Those are the main ones that I use. You will need to get that fairly quickly because we do start doing some readings from the Bedford Bookshelf pretty quickly. So you'll need to get those books as soon as possible for class. So you log in, there's a welcome screen. Then I have, what's happening this week, kind of like an announcement. That'll be a new announcement every week. There's a picture of me. Couple important things before I go into the actual class. Over here, you always have the to-do list. I love the to-do list. It's really helpful to you guys, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And that's the important thing to remember. So one of the big things it doesn't show is that discussions have two due dates, but Canvas only allows me to put in one due date. So for all discussions, you always have to make some sort of initial discussion where you write out your thoughts or whatever on a reading or whatever I assign. And that's always due by Thursday. And then by Sunday, the end of the first day of the new week, you always have to respond to two of your peers. So, but Canvas only allows me to put in the final date. So, but it's the same every week. It doesn't change. So every Thursday, you have your initial discussion. And then on Sundays, you have your peer responses that are due. You can do them anytime, but those are the deadlines. So all of your work for the class will be in the modules. And this is another example of how it doesn't show you the whole story, like this discussion on habits, and you go, oh, okay, well, I have till January 26th to do it. It doesn't show you that the initial discussion is due on Thursday, which I believe is like the 23rd. And it also doesn't tell you that there's a whole reading that you need to do before you do the discussion. So what you really want to do is go into the modules each week. The modules show you everything. This is the whole week, do your introductions. There's a reading called Academic Habits of Mind. Then you have a discussion on that reading. And then you also have two quizzes, one on the syllabus and one on AI and plagiarism. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So that's one of the important elements of the class. And every week I'll open a new module. If you rent the course materials, you should be able to rent them here, but you do have to pay for it to be able to access them. The other thing I want to show you is the course overview. Like, what are we going to do in English 101? So let me tell you a little bit about that. There's 4 essays. The 4th essay is a research paper, 5 to 7 pages. We have 2 weeks to do the essays. Most weeks there will be a discussion where you have an initial response and you have to respond to 2 peers. On Sundays, I'll always post a new module with new exercises and additional readings. We'll read the novel Just Mercy. That's something else that you need to get. I didn't show you that, but I'll show you here in a second. I don't know if you can, there you go. There's I'll show it when I close it, but it's a really good novel. And then There's additional exercises, there's a midterm and a final exam. The final exam is on the novel. Let me go to the syllabus and show you that. I'm not going to go through everything on the syllabus. There is a quiz on the syllabus. So that way you can read the information yourself. It's kind of tedious if I just sit here and read it to you. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to point out some important things. One, email me if you have questions. I'm happy to set up a Zoom appointment. I do have virtual office hours on Tuesdays from 9 to 10. But if that doesn't work for you, you can always email me and I will set up a different time. I usually get back to you within 24 hours. I'm human. If I forget, email me again and say, hey, I emailed you and I didn't hear from you, but I'm usually pretty good about it. Don't ask questions in the comment section of Canvas. When you submit an assignment, sometimes students will ask a question. Oh, can I do this or can I do that? But if you have I make comments in those sections too on your assignments, but I reserve that really just for focusing on this assignment. So if you have specific questions, just be sure to email me rather than just putting it in the comment section because I may not see it. I do want to show you the important dates. The first day of class, last day to drop, always good to know if you feel like, the course is going to be too much for you. The last day to withdraw, those are always good to know. Required textbooks, it's the Bedford Bookshelf and Just Mercy, and gives the ISBN numbers for those. We don't start reading Just Mercy for about a month. So if you don't want to get that book right away, but that book's only like 10 bucks or so. So it's not super expensive. How much time will this class take? That's an important one that I want to talk about. So this is a 4-unit class. That means there's 4 hours of in-class time. You're doing a discussion, you're Zooming, taking a quiz, whatever. Then there's an additional 8 hours of outside of class time each week, which is, maybe reading, writing an essay. That's a total of 12 hours a week in order to be successful. I think that's varies from student to student, but it's a really good guideline depending on how many other classes you're taking, what your outside of class responsibilities are. Only you know those things. So there's something to keep in mind. It's a guide, could be a little more, could be a little less, depending on the person. Read the discussion guidelines carefully. College level material, this class at times uses topics that might be controversial. Maybe they would be considered a PG or an R rating. If you're uncomfortable with that, totally understand, but you might want to take a different class. I don't redo the course material for that. So I am going to spend a few minutes talking about academic honesty. Now that we're in the age of AI, artificial intelligence. So I want you to read through this. There's actually a quiz on this, a separate quiz other than the syllabus. I've had to rework the AI policy. AI has some great benefits, but in the college composition classroom, the idea is to learn how to write and to grow as a writer, and you have a very distinct voice. AI writing is all robotic and sounds exactly the same. And it's pretty easy to identify based on my experience. So, and when you turn in your essays, you will turn them in to Turnitin. And Turnitin identifies plagiarism, but it also now identifies AI writing. That's even if you use Grammarly. If you use Grammarly just to fix grammar, that's not using AI. Using AI is where you use it to change the writing, to revise it, to think, oh, it sounds better. No, it just sounds like a robot. It doesn't sound like your voice. Just because it has, what I call pretty words, most of the time it's super boring and bland and very non-specific. A lot of times I'll tell students, even if this wasn't an AI paper, it would still receive a failing grade because it really doesn't meet what I've asked you to do. So with that, it doesn't follow how I design essays and all that kind of stuff. I do recognize that Turnitin doesn't always identify AI writing. So if I do suspect AI writing, the burden of proof is on you to prove that the material is original. That could be through an oral exam where you and I have a discussion about it. It could also be that you're asked to produce similar writing in a controlled situation where you're handwriting something with me watching, something along those lines. So that produces the same type of writing that you turned in the essay that I believe is AI. Ultimately, it's really about having the integrity to write your own work. I will say this past semester, several students were using it and several students were failing as a result of using AI. So something to keep in mind as we go on through the semester. And you can read the whole policy, so you're really clear. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Let me go back to the syllabus here. I also want to mention Office 365. You have access to Office 365 as a student for free. It gives you Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It's really great. If you haven't signed up for it, I suggest it. I think it's a better way to submit your essays rather than using Google Docs. You cannot submit a PDF file for your essays. They have to be in Microsoft Word. A lot of students will convert Google Docs to Word. It can be a little wonky. I recommend using Office 365 and it's available free to you. It can take a few days to set up the account if you don't already have one. So you want to make sure that you get that done as soon as possible. Attendance and participation, the discussions are a big part of attendance in the class. And discussions are the one thing that you really can't make up. I mean, I have a late work policy. I typically don't accept late work, but you can read the policy on that. Attendance is, are you logging in and spending time every week interacting with the material, interacting with students? And so sometimes students will miss a few weeks and then they'll say, well, can I make up my discussion? And the answer is no, you can't make up discussions. Since they count as attendance, if you weren't there, you weren't there. So, but read the policy. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else to say. Let me stop the share and show you the book Just Mercy. So that's our book that we're reading. It's nonfiction. It's from the author Bryan Stevenson, who wrote largely about his work with the incarcerated, typically marginalized groups, either people of color or people with mental difficulties, mental health issues, and also juveniles. And it's a really powerful book about finding justice in those situations. It's also a movie. The movie sort of follows the book, but a lot of students watch the movie. That's great. You can watch the movie, but it's not exactly the same as the book, so you want to be sure and read the book. Other than that, if you have any questions, let me know. Just email me and reach out, and I look forward to our semester together.